Opening arguments start today for the impeachment of former President Trump. We'll have more on the trial. Plus, a Southwest Missouri assistant principal facing child pornography charges is fired. And the Joplin Police Department gives tips on how to drive in dangerous wintry weather. We'll hear what they say you need to do to stay safe on your morning commute.
The Four States Most Watched News starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the Koam Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, Pitt State men's basketball team is on a winning streak. We'll hear from Coach Anderson as the team heads into final weeks of play before the MIAA tournament. And a new poll shows the majority of Americans prefer to split the bill on the first date. For our Something to Talk About, we're asking, who do you think should pay the bill on the first date? That's a good question. But first, to check on your forecast.
Got a good idea for you. How about stay inside today? How about instead of worrying about going out and splitting the bill, how about don't leave the house? That's going to be the best thing to do because number one, we've got just tremendously bitter cold weather, but more importantly, we've got snow coming down. And then we also, too, have freezing rain down to the south. We've got a mess on our hands. Bottom of your screen, we run that list of closings, whether it be organizations, activities, businesses, and I know the big one everybody's looking at, yep, schools. It really starts from the central portion of the four states, works its way south. We've got a number of districts that are off today with winter weather advisories lasting all the way till 6 a.m. That's consistent from what we saw yesterday. Live look from the Freeman Health System sky camera where we've got the flakes in the air, only at 19 degrees. Feels like it's 8 right now. So we not only have the freezing drizzle, some snow, but also frigid cold temps. Nobody even close to the freezing mark, ranging really from about 14 to 24 degrees. Factor in the north wind, 1 in Yates Center and Iola, 8 in Webb City. Feels like it's 17 in Commerce. And remember, those temperatures will continue to drop throughout the course of our morning. Look at the cold front, how south it's penetrated right now, making its way through the Arklatex region, headed into the deep southern portion of the United States. We're only going to be in the 20s today, and we're not even done with our precipitation. So bottom, I-44 and below that, look at that. It just keeps on training through. Snow in the central and southern portions. Then as we get through Wednesday, it really turns into mostly snow as it passes through, which not a bad thing, a little bit easier to drive in that. Then we get a break finally Thursday afternoon. One thing we will not get a break from, those are the cold temperatures, as we're going to be stuck in the 20s as those overnight lows continue to dive into single digits as we head to the weekend. And we're to the point now where we can honestly say dangerously cold, not only because just because of the temps. Now we're talking about an elongated affair. Yeah, I mean, this is going on to day 3. Right. Yeah, now we're getting serious.
After driving on the roads this morning, I'm actually surprised there's not more schools that haven't called in.
Now wait, because you and I come from a certain place where our snow was wet with Gulf moisture and packed, okay? You drop down south of where you and I were coming from, that ain't snow. That's freezing rain.
Yeah.
Then we start talking about ice accretion. We're going to be at 0.2 of an inch here before we hit sunrise.
No matter where you go, there's a fresh layer out there, and you don't know what's under that fresh layer.
So I'm going to follow the advice of Kansas Department of Transportation, Missouri Department of Transportation, Oklahoma Department of Transportation. If you do not have to go out today, don't go out.
Yeah. And if you do have to go out, make sure it's not for a long period of time because it is very cold.
Right.
There you go. All right, thanks, Michael. Opening arguments are slated to begin this afternoon in the second impeachment trial of former President Trump. On Tuesday, the Senate voted to continue with the proceedings after hearing arguments as to its constitutionality. All 50 Democrats said it was constitutional, and they were joined by 6 Republicans. The Nixa, Missouri School District fired an assistant principal who is facing child pornography charges. The court affidavit says 41-year-old Colby Fronterhouse pretended to be a 14-year-old girl, sending sexually explicit messages to a 13-year-old boy. Authorities say Fronterhouse got the boy's cell phone number through school records. He had been placed on administrative leave, but the school board yesterday voted to fire him. The wintry weather has led to dangerous road conditions. Driving on snow, however, is different than driving on ice. While both are slick and hazardous, officials say you can get a little more traction on snow than you can with ice. In either case, the Joplin Police Department says you need to play it safe.
Decrease your speed, decrease your following distance, allow several cars of distance between you and the vehicle in front of you to allow you to stop. And if you do lose control, try to maintain your composure, steer out of it if you can.
Missouri Highway Patrol says icy conditions contributed to a fatal crash on Highway 13 about 5 miles south of Bolivar. They say a 46-year-old Michael Dickinson of Bolivar lost control of his pickup, traveled through the median, and then overturned into the path of an oncoming SUV. Dickinson died at the scene. The weather led to a head-on crash in Newton County involving 2 semis. The Missouri Highway Patrol says a Freightliner on I-49 south of Neosho crossed the center line and hit another truck head-on. The driver of the second truck was taken to Mercy Hospital and has been listed in serious condition. A woman held at the City Justice Center in St. Louis is speaking out about conditions there. The mother of 3 spent 3 days at the center last fall. Her comments come as city leaders deny claims about demands for better conditions at the facility. Morgan Young reports.
Every report that is coming out about St. Louis Justice Center is so true.
Last September, Savannah Clark got pulled over in the city for expired tags. She had a warrant in the county, so she was arrested and held at the Justice Center.
I was there 72 hours and I didn't get to call anyone. My family didn't know where I was.
The mother of 3 says her kids were with family, but it took 3 days for her to be taken to the county and post bail. She says what happened in that time shocked her.
It's not supposed to be a pleasant experience. However, you're still a human being and people are supposed to treat you, a certain way.
She says she wasn't in a cell, but in what's called a tank, which was filthy.
Old fecal matter, spit all on the glass that you can tell has been there for like months. Old blood hanging from the toilet stools, tissue that had already been used that was like all over the floor. Old trays with old food that had grew mold.
Did you eat in the 72 hours that you were there?
No.
Were you offered food?
No. They wouldn't even give me sanitary napkins. By the time I was released, my clothes were a mess.
She wasn't on the floor or in the unit where Saturday's incident happened, but she says after only a few days, what she's hearing is similar to what she saw.
I don't care what these people did. And then you can't say they did it if they haven't been convicted.
And many in this facility have not. While she says she would have handled things differently, she gets it.
After a while, you get tired.
Again, that was Morgan Young reporting. Clark added that she saw other detainees treated badly. The Doghouse, a restaurant in Miami, is teaming up with a local resident to bring warm food to anyone in need. Sandy Williams reached out to restaurants in the area to create a meal wall where anyone who needs a free warm meal can get one, no questions asked. Anyone can pick up an item from the menu and pay for it. The restaurant creates a ticket and hangs it on the wall for anyone needing a meal. If you're in need of a meal, just let a server know. It's 5:07.
Conditions on this Wednesday morning because we got a little bit of a mess on our hands, and we're going to start from the Missouri Department of Transportation. Now, your purple is going to indicate covered, which is going to be not only I-49 but also I-44. That is completely covered. That blue, as you go down to the south, that's partly covered, but I want to point out that blue, that's also going to be freezing rain. So it's not going to be snow covered. No, you're going to run into ice down there. All right, Kansas Department of Transportation. We've got 69 that is completely covered as you go through Cherokee up through Crawford. Highway 400 completely covered as we traverse up 69. Doesn't get really any better until you get on the other side of Prescott headed toward Pleasanton. And 400, it just stays covered all the way to Fredonia. In Oklahoma, Right now, we're looking at Ottawa, that they're going to say it is moderate travel conditions from the Department of Transportation. Then, as you move down to the south, they are calling that severe weather conditions.
Be safe out there, please. Just be safe. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, why Patrick Mahomes is heading into surgery today. Plus, how the new COVID variants could reverse the positive trends that we've been seeing. And we'll take a look at why 68% of Americans prefer to split the bill on the first date. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Pitt State Gorillas heating up. Life is all about timing. They're headed into the final few weeks of play right before the MIAA tournament on a nice little winning streak. Our own Danny Terzer with a preview.
Pitt State has found their stride, winning the last 5 games.
We're starting to kind of gel. I think our chemistry's gotten a lot better. I think that guys are more accepting of their roles and they know what they do well.
Each player on the floor can and has made an impact.
We're a team that's probably devoid of a superstar, but we have a lot of really good players, and they all do different things.
Pippins had 27 points and 7 rebounds in last Thursday's game. 2 days later, Antonio Givens went off, scoring a career-high 20 points.
We're still trying to go into each game showing we want to win ball games each and every day.
The Gorillas are improving and exceeding expectations. They were ranked 7th in the MIAA coaches preseason poll.
It is a big chip on our shoulder, and we're just trying to keep chipping away and keep cushioning on our spot so we can have a good spot to go into the tournament.
They have some tough games before then. Pitt State hits the road to play number 3 ranked Northwest Missouri on Thursday. To continue on at their current pace, they've made a game plan.
I think preparation, I think try to keep an even keel. We try to take it a little bit easier because guys have played, we played 17 games now. So it's that time of year when guys need rest during the week so that they can play those two games in 3 days on the weekend.
Thank you, Danny. Appreciate that story. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes expected to have surgery today. Mahomes sustained his injury, what is commonly known as turf toe, in the divisional round of the playoffs against Cleveland. And of course, he played through the end of the postseason. Didn't slow him down on Sunday. He was on the run multiple times. As a matter of fact, the NFL stat tracker saying he ran some 497 yards while being pressured by the Tampa Bay defense in Super Bowl 55 alone. Mahomes made no excuses regarding his toe and the Super Bowl loss. Said he was able to play well a few weeks ago, and that in football you have to battle through injuries. Now rehab, going to take months. As a matter of fact, this is his big toe we're talking about. There are some estimates this thing could take up to 6 months to rehab. He is expected to make a full recovery and return in time for the upcoming season. Chiefs country, Browns country, Charger country, Washington football team country, the entire NFL. Fans mourning the loss of longtime head coach Marty Schottenheimer. Schottenheimer passed away on Monday at the age of 77. He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 2014 and recently been placed in hospice care. Hired by the Chiefs in 1989, spent 10 years in Kansas City, and it happened to be his longest stint as a head coach with any NFL team. In those years, he had 101 wins and only 58 losses. In his entire career, he accumulated 200 regular season wins, puts him in the top 10 among winningest coaches in NFL history. Marty Schottenheimer played a large role in my NFL fandom as a kid. I grew up the son of 2 Cleveland Browns fans. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, officials debunking the theory that COVID escaped from a lab in Wuhan, China. And a check on our 7-day forecast for the KOAM Morning News returns.
The president's
There we are, a little past 5:17. Great time for weather on the 7s. Now, even though the radar is picking up the freezing precipitation, get rid of my name there. You don't want to see my name. You want to see what's right here. On I-44, we've got snow, freezing drizzle that is making its way through the southern portion, multiple slick spots. We've got dangerous road conditions out, even the southern portion up to the central and the north, getting its fair share of snow right now. That's why we've got winter weather advisories for all our counties in purple, lasting all the way into Thursday. From the Freeman Health System sky camera, 19 degrees is where we stand. Only feels like it's 10 right now. So all that snow and ice, it's not going anywhere as we see wind chills in the single digits as you progress up to the north and the cold front penetrating into the deep south. Not a whole lot of reprieve from the dangerous cold temperatures, and more importantly, watch what Future Track has in store as the freezing precip sticks around all morning long, turns into snow for the evening hours, and we don't get a break until Thursday. Now, once we do, after Thursday morning, it just stays cold all the way into the weekend. Look at those overnight lows all the way down into the single digits. As we turn our attention now to the KOM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, asking you, who do you think should pay the bill on the first date? That's right. It's not political, folks. Somebody's going to make it political, I know. That's why you guys are fun. That's why I love hanging around you. Also, our Insta poll, komnewsnow.com/vote. We'll break this down, get you your comments and your results here in just a little bit. Health Watch, next.
Buy more. Topping Health Watch this morning, despite a dip in new U.S. COVID-19 cases, the U.S. has yet to control this pandemic. And new data suggests the virus variants could reverse positive COVID trends. Mandy Gaither has more.
National emergency, and the approach we are taking reflects this.
As the number of new daily COVID cases across the U.S. is trending down, officials are urging Americans to keep their guards up.
The continued proliferation of variants remains of great concern and is a threat that could reverse the recent positive trends we are seeing.
The latest U.S. data shows mutations of the virus are spreading. Nearly 700 variant cases in at least 33 states, most of them the variant first identified in the UK. But officials are certain there are more out there that have yet to be identified.
Over the last 3 weeks or so, we've increased our sequencing about tenfold. So as we look more, we're certainly anticipate we might find more.
Health experts say the 2 vaccines currently authorized in the U.S. are effective against that variant, and the best defenses against further virus mutations is to get as many people vaccinated as quickly as possible and continue public health measures, wear a mask, stay 6 feet away from others, and wash your hands.
I recognize that the pandemic has taken an enormous toll on all of us, but if we all work together and take these prevention steps, we can finally turn the tide.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Health experts also continue to urge Americans to not only get the coronavirus vaccine when it's available, but to also get the second dose of the same vaccine on time. Researchers in London are looking at conditions including chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and even depression to help treat patients suffering from long-term symptoms from the coronavirus. Some symptoms of COVID, depression, and other mental health problems are linked to low-grade inflammation. So scientists hope replicating treatment for those disorders could help COVID patients. The latest coronavirus relief package under consideration in the House would make healthcare more affordable for some Americans. The bill from Representative Richard Neal would increase Affordable Care Act subsidies for 2 years. During that same period, it would lower costs for middle-class Americans who earn too much to receive financial assistance now. Under the plan, enrollees would not pay more than 8.5% of their income for health insurance. Those changes would be part of President Biden's relief package, temporarily fulfilling a campaign promise. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Cloudy with not only freezing rain down to the south, but light flurries, if not snow, moving through the central portion. Best thing to do today, especially as you traverse farther south of our highlighted counties, is don't travel if you don't need to. Winter weather advisories stretching all the way into Thursday morning as temperatures are not even close to the freezing mark and overnight lows continue to get worse as we head toward Valentine's Day weekend. All the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
The wait.
Opening arguments start today for the impeachment of former President Trump. We'll have more on the trial. Plus, a Southwest Missouri assistant principal facing child pornography charges is fired. And the Joplin Police Department gives tips on how to drive in dangerous wintry weather. We'll hear what they say you need to do to stay safe on your morning commute.
The 4 states most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour for something to talk about on the KOAM News Now Facebook page. We're asking, who do you think should pay the bill on the first date? And our own Jesse Irwin brings us another Wildcat Wednesday. But first, a check on your forecast.
Heavy cloud cover, bitter cold temperatures, and yes, not only freezing drizzle to the south, but also snow that's made its way into the central portion of the 4 states. More importantly, really want to concentrate on our central counties down to the south because the freezing rain is resulting in ice accumulation. We've got a number of cancellations running across the bottom of your screen. Of course, you can not only find those at komnewsnow.com, but updated road conditions, which may be the most important thing today, on there as well. Winter weather advisory lasting all the way to Thursday. Let's take a live look from the Freeman Health System sky camera. 19 degrees, only feels like it's 10 right now. And we need to lock in because we're talking about to the point where we're at dangerously cold temps because this is going to be an elongated affair that's going to take us into the weekend. Only looking at highs in the 20s today, and the important part of this is future track because our wintry mix doesn't want to go anywhere. The freezing rain sticks around till the middle of the morning. Then we transition over into more snow for the central and the northern 4 states. Finally rolls through into Thursday, okay? Into Thursday morning is how long we're looking at. Then we get a little bit of a break Thursday afternoon into Friday. Guess what happens Saturday, Tanya? We're right back at it with a chance for snow and overnight lows into the single digits. That means we'll be talking about wind chills that'll easily be, -5 to -10.
Man, it's just nasty out there.
Got a question on Facebook. Great question.
Okay.
Record lows this time of year, right? Are we challenging them? No, if you go back to 1909, we had a span of temperatures that ranged from about -12 to -15. Not wind chills. Actual temperatures in 1909.
Well, one thing you want to look out for sure out there is, driving on those roads. It's cold weather.
I got another idea. Don't.
Stay home.
Don't.
But if you have to.
You and I are here doing a news show. Everybody else, don't do it.
That's right. But if you have to.
Tanya and I will vouch for that.
Coming up in a few stories, we've got tips on driving on icy weather. We've even got tips to keep your pipes from freezing.
That's excellent. I've got tips too. It's called put a drip in your faucet and don't drive. How about that?
First, before
I just conquered 2 minutes of content in 20 seconds.
There you go. Before we get to those stories, we're going to tell you what's topping national headlines. Opening arguments are slated to begin this afternoon in the second impeachment trial of former President Trump. On Tuesday, the Senate voted to continue with the proceedings after hearing arguments as to its constitutionality. All 50 Democrats said it was constitutional, and they were joined by 6 Republicans. The Nixon, Missouri School District fired an assistant principal who is facing child pornography charges. A court affidavit says 41-year-old Colby Fronterhouse pretended to be a 14-year-old girl, sending sexually explicit messages to a 13-year-old boy. Authorities say Fronterhouse got the boy's cell phone number through school records. He had been placed on administrative leave, but the school board yesterday voted to fire him. The wintry weather has led to dangerous road conditions. Driving on snow, however, is different than driving on ice. While both are slow and hazardous, officials say you can get a little more traction on snow than you can with ice. In either case, the Joplin Police Department says you need to play it safe.
You can gear down, you can Just take your foot off the brake some so that you're not completely locking up your brakes, allowing your vehicles, your tires to rotate and get some traction on the roadway.
For the latest road conditions in your state, you can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com and click on road conditions at the top of the page. Don't forget to drip your faucets during these freezing cold temps, and that's not only good advice, it's the message from the Missouri American Water. They say they've received a number of calls for service and want you to take steps to prevent frozen pipes. Allowing faucets to drip can help, and there are other things you can do as well.
Probably definitely the kitchen. Your bathrooms, just open the cabinet doors. They'll probably be okay, but definitely your kitchen faucet. Might want to think about how to protect your outdoor faucets as well, whether you wrap those, maybe just protect them from the exposure.
Missouri American Water says you can wrap those in newspaper, but your local hardware store likely carries something more substantial with fiberglass insulation. Joplin Fire Department wants to know what you think about them. They're asking residents to fill out a survey about their services and response. Officials say the survey takes less than 5 minutes to complete. The department will use the information to develop plans on how they can improve.
I'm excited to see what our citizens think of the Joplin Fire Department. Are we providing service? And if not, where do we need to improve? So I'm excited to get that honest and open feedback, and anything we get is going to make us a better department in the long run. So I'm excited to see those responses, those answers.
Provided a link to the survey on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. How a team of experts are busting myths on how the pandemic first began. And our own Jesse Irwin has another Wildcat Wednesday. But first, it's 5:37.
Cancellations piling up. KOAMnewsnow.com. Additional school districts continue to come in. Winter weather advisories, slick roads, best bet, stay off, stay home, be safe. Be back right after this.
National Experts is busting myths as it probes how the COVID-19 pandemic first began. Kevin Cork looks at the World Health Organization's preliminary discoveries in China, why the critical investigation almost never took place.
The World Health Organization is shedding light on the possible origin of COVID-19 after a team of experts conducted an investigation into the outbreak's original epicenter in China. Officials are striking down the theory the virus escaped from a lab in Wuhan, instead claiming the coronavirus was transmitted from animals to humans.
Our initial findings suggest that the introduction through an intermediary host species is the most likely pathways.
The team says the Hunan seafood market is likely one location for the coronavirus outbreak. Officials questioned market workers, discovered where they sourced their products, and tested livestock, but the exact animal culprit is still unknown. The U.S. State Department welcomes these findings with caution.
I wouldn't want to be conclusive yet about any sort of cooperation that the WHO may or may not have received from China.
That's because for months, China originally failed to approve the investigation. That is, until the World Health Assembly suggested they comply. Meanwhile, across the pond, the UK is announcing harsher penalties for violating COVID-19 travel rules, including roughly $14,000 in fines for not properly quarantining, and even prison sentences.
Anyone who lies on the passenger locator form and tries to conceal that they've been in a country on the red list in the 10 days before arrival here will face a prison sentence of up to 10 years.
U.S. officials say they will continue consulting the WHO findings while also collecting their own intelligence on the origins of COVID-19. New data suggests Russia's COVID-19 death toll may be one of the highest in the world and much higher than earlier reports suggested. Russia's Federal Statistics Agency released new figures Monday indicating that as many as 162,429 deaths can be attributed to COVID-19 in 2020. Russia had previously reported just over 57,000 COVID-19 deaths. That's according to data published by the country's coronavirus task force. Based on the figures released Monday, Russia would rank as the country with the 4th highest number of COVID-19 deaths, behind the United States, Brazil, and Mexico. A member of the New Zealand Parliament was ejected because he was not wearing a tie. Rawiri Watiti, the co-leader of the country's Maori party, was asked to leave the chambers on Tuesday. It's all because of a tie mandate for male lawmakers, and Watiti was wearing a traditional greenstone necklace that he says is a nod to his native people. Watiti has described ties as colonial nooses and says force him to observe a Western dress code. Forcing him to do that is a breach of his rights and an attempt to suppress indigenous culture. We're going to have a conversation with Michael if we could get the double boxes here. I actually would probably agree with him, honestly. Dylan, can we get 2 boxes here?
Dylan, you got me?
Just take up Michael.
That's all right, I'll wait. I'm with him. You go ahead and you talk about the British Royals.
All right, I'll do that.
I'm going to strip off that tie.
You go, Watiti.
You know, do we have a jacket mandate here? What's up, New Zealand?
Michael's behind you. There you go. You know what? If I had a tie on, I'd take it off too.
I know.
I think that's true. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. What's up,
He's wearing his own version of a tie, basically.
Exactly.
Is what he's wearing.
What you got? Hey, you just came off your birthday.
I did.
Which coincidentally enough falls by Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Right? All right, so we're going to put the age-old debate on the KOM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll. Who pays on the first date? Now, Tanya, I want to point something out. Before I get to this first comment, I feel like in the past we must have asked a question close to this, or Kelly Dodge herself has told me this story.
Okay.
Because I know this story, and I promise I am not the dude that I'm about to tell you about, like, in Kelly's comment.
I
okay?
hope not.
It's not me.
I hope not.
It's not, folks, I promise you, it's not me. But I know this story from somewhere, I can't figure it out. Okay, we got to take VO or computer, like we got to do something. All right, let's roll. All right, so Kelly says, too funny, just talked about this last week. But for some reason, I know Kelly's story specifically. Went to prom decades ago, Plaza 3, KC. Gonna pick up my dates tab until he ordered filet mignon, well done. And that's why she didn't. I don't know why I remember this. But I remember the story from Kelly Dodge saying, I was gonna pay, and then he pulled this. I thought that was great. Cindy Ivy said, man should pay, I'm old-fashioned that way, and says, my husband did on our first date. Judy Baker says, my brother-in-law told me always go Dutch, because if you let a guy buy as much as a Coke, he'll try to squeeze it all out of you. Now, for our Insta poll this morning, right now, 53% of you say the male should buy, 5% say the female. I found this curious, and it's at 0% right now, but the highest earner, that's a particularly personal question to ask on the first date. I'd strongly advise against that. Then again, don't take dating advice from me. News you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Opening arguments are slated to begin this afternoon in the second impeachment trial of former President Trump. On Tuesday, the Senate voted to continue with the proceeding after hearing arguments as to its constitutionality. All 50 Democrats said it was constitutional, and they were joined by 6 Republicans. Nixa, Missouri School District fired an assistant principal who is facing child pornography charges. Court affidavit says 41-year-old Colby Fronterhouse pretended to be a 14-year-old girl, sending sexually explicit messages to a 13-year-old boy. Authorities say Fronterhouse got the boy's cell phone number through school records. He had been placed on administrative leave, but the school board yesterday voted to fire him. Wintry weather has led to dangerous road conditions. Driving on snow, however, is different than driving on ice. While both are slick and hazardous. Officials say you can get a little more traction on snow than you can with ice. In either case, the Joplin Police Department says you need to play it safe. And for the latest road conditions in your state, you can go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, and click on road conditions at the top of the page. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And the best advice today, Tanya, with the freezing rain and snow that we've had, especially as you move to the south, stay inside. Try to stay off the roads if at all possible, because we've already got multiple reports of accidents today as the bitter cold remains and pushes us toward the weekend with overnight lows in single digits. More KOAM Morning News right after this.
I'm not sure if anybody's told you, but we have some good friends at Wildcat Extension who like to come on one day in particular, and that is Wildcat Wednesday. And that's why this morning we are fortunate enough to be joined by our friend Cherry Nelson. Cherry, I love talking to you about this stuff. How are you?
Good. How are you, Jesse?
I'm fantastic, and I'm excited to be able to talk to you about the Wildlife Project because 4-H offers a lot, right? And as we start a new year after a unique year for all of us, but especially for 4-H and for Wildcat Extension, you're really hitting the ground running here. So explain to me what the Wildlife Project is.
Sure. We're doing a series of different exploring 4-H projects. So the first one we chose was wildlife. And the Wildlife Project is all encompassing. It could be you're learning about wildlife tracks, mammals, reptiles, amphibians, whatever. So we chose to talk about birds. The sports fishing project part of the wildlife is also part of the Wildlife Project. So we have a lot of kids that like to do the fishing project, but we decided to focus on birds right now. So it was just a fun little activity that we could do with the kids.
Well, I love it. Show us what you got for us today. I know you got an activity.
Sure. We did this activity with the kids. It's basically just making a simple little bird seed bell feeder. And so I'm going to tilt my camera and we'll show you what we did.
Okay, cool.
So this is a very simple little project. Anybody can do it. We basically, what you need is just some kind of little container that you can pour the bird seed in. You can use clay pots lined with wax paper if that's what you had, but we had a lot of these little soup bowls in the office, so we decided to use that. We put some yarn, which this yarn is something that when the birds finish the feeder, they can take this yarn and they'll put it in their nest. So, sometimes when you look at bird nests, you see all kinds of different things in their nest. And so that's something they can use in their nest. The supplies you're going to need some hot water. You're going to need some gelatin, just the clear gelatin, about half a packet of that. I'm going to pour that in the bowl, along with the hot water, and we're going to dissolve that. Stir that around till it's dissolved. And once we get that dissolved down, we're going to put some K-Rose syrup in it. Now, K-Rose syrup, we're using that just as a binding agent, so when we make our bell, it'll stick together better. It's important that you get all this dissolved, because next you're going to take bird seed and some flour. You can use cornmeal or flour. We used flour because that's what we had on hand. And it's about a cup of bird seed and a quarter cup of flour or cornmeal. And you're going to pour that in. And then you're going to stir that all up. Doesn't that look yummy? Aren't you ready to eat, Jesse?
I've never wanted bird feed more.
Well, this bird seed in particular is a songbird mix. It's got some golden millet, it's got some milo, it's got some sunflower seeds. This will attract a whole lot of different types of birds. Different birds like different things. So once you kind of get that all stirred up, you're going to put that into your cup. And then you're going to tie a knot in that so it's knotted up at the bottom.
Okay. Huh.
And then once we're done, you're going to sit this in the freezer for a couple hours. And when it's done, you're going to have a bell bird seed feeder.
Cherry, that is awesome. Thank you for walking us through that. We're going to make sure we have all the supplies on our website. But thank you so much for sharing with us a little bit of the Wildlife Project.
Sure, we're glad to do it. And I hope that the 4-Hers that are watching out there think about doing the Wildlife Project.
Love it. Well, hey, we're going to have the information on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Just go to our morning show page. We've got our Wildcat Wednesdays on there, along with a lot of other activities you can do right there in your house. But Cherry, thank you. We'll be right back after this.
Advice for today is simply stay off the roads. Closings and cancellations on the bottom of your screen, including organizations, activities, businesses. And I know the one thing everybody's eyeballing, school districts. And you can find that information at KOAMnewsnow.com. Right hand of your screen, right under Nick's blog, is going to be a list to take you to the closings. And not only that, on the top of that page, a list of road conditions. And here's why I say stay off the roads, because we've got freezing drizzles still transpiring down in the southern portion of the 4 states. We're picking up ice accumulation. We've got multiple slide-offs this morning. Best thing to do, just stay safe. And it's not going anywhere. As this thing rolls through, more freezing rain down to the south. Snow works its way then through the north and central portions of the 4 states all the way from Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. We're not going to get a break until Thursday afternoon, and the freezing cold temperatures actually get lower when we talk about overnight. Look at that, single digits as we approach Valentine's Day weekend. So we're at the point now where we're going to talk about dangerously cold. Bring in your pets, check on your neighbors, drip the faucets, all the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
Opening arguments start today for the impeachment of former President Trump. We'll have more on the trial. Plus, a Southwest Missouri assistant principal facing child pornography charges is fired. And the Joplin Police Department gives tips on how to drive in dangerous wintry weather. We'll hear what they say you need to do to stay safe on your morning commute.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, Aunt Jemima is getting a replacement name. And for our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, we're asking, who do you think should pay the bill on the first date? First, a check on your forecast.
From Aunt Jemima to Going Dutch to who should pay, the most important thing going on this Wednesday morning happens to be our 4-state weather and the fact that it's a mess outside and the fact that our driving conditions deteriorated overnight, and the best thing to do is stay at home today. Not only with the bitter cold temperatures, but we've still got snow and freezing drizzle down to the south. Our snow beginning to subside up to the north, but still snow-packed roads, a multitude of closings. You can find those on the bottom of our screen. Scrolling through, you can also go to KOAMnewsnow.com, where you can find a complete list of those closings, especially the schools. I know that's the most important thing this morning, but also too, flip on those road conditions. We've got them for each and every state. And right now we are talking about completely covered roads. 44, 49, 69, 400, and all the way from 44 down to Tulsa. Once again, Department of Transportation, Police, Highway Patrol encouraging you. If you don't have to go out, don't do it. That's why we've got a winter weather advisory stretching all the way until Thursday. And once again, like I said, it's dangerously cold outside. We've got a temperature right now of 19 from the Freeman Health System sky camera, wind chill of 11, and nowhere close to the freezing mark, which means all the ice and snow, yeah, it's not going anywhere. So as we look at our day planner for today, 20s is as good as we're going to get. But I think the most important thing is what Future Track has to illustrate is we have the snow and freezing rain that stick around all the way, not only through the afternoon hours, especially to the south, then we transition into snow for Wednesday night all the way into Thursday morning. So this is a long way from being over. That's why that winter weather advisory stretches so far. We finally get a break Thursday evening into Friday, but Tanya, our temperatures, they go down as we head into the weekend. Overnight lows, single digits.
Well, we've got lots of more news coverage pertaining to the icy weather and the driving conditions and what you can do during this cold weather.
I can come back at any time. You
All right.
holler at me?
I will. I will definitely. But first,
Weather
let's
Center.
get to a couple stories that the nation is talking about. Opening arguments are slated to begin this afternoon in the second impeachment trial of former President Trump. On Tuesday, the Senate voted to continue with the proceeding after the hearing arguments as to its constitutionality. All 50 Democrats said it was constitutional. They were joined by 6 Republicans. The Nixa, Missouri School District has fired an assistant principal, one who is facing child pornography charges. Court affidavit says 41-year-old Colby Fronterhouse pretended to be a 14-year-old girl, sending sexually explicit messages to a 13-year-old boy. Authorities say Fronterhouse got the boy's cell phone number through school records. He had been placed on administrative leave, but the school board yesterday voted to fire him. Wintry weather has led to dangerous driving conditions. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with the Joplin Police Department about what you can do to be safe.
Since the wintry weather set in, Sergeant Jared Delzell with the Joplin Police Department says officers have been busy.
Our calls for slide-offs and vehicle assists, collisions were extremely high.
He's got some tips on how to decrease their workload and keep yourself safe.
Decrease your speed, decrease your following distance, allow several cars of distance between you and the vehicle in front of you to allow you to stop. And if you do lose control, try to maintain your composure, steer out of it if you can.
Snow and ice can be two different beasts on the road, and Delzell has some tips on how to handle icy weather as well.
You can gear down, you can just take your foot off the brake some so that you're not completely locking up your brakes, allowing your vehicles, your tires to rotate and get some traction on the roadway.
Rick Nixon with Nixon's Garage and Towing says they've been working from 7 a.m. until there aren't any more calls.
Because the roads are crowned even in the city, there's plenty of cars that have just slipped to the side and hit the curb and done enough damage that they were uncomfortable driving them home. So not even necessarily in the ditch, but there's plenty of them in the ditch.
There's something else to be aware of. Sergeant Delzell says under normal circumstances in Missouri, you follow the speed limit. But in dangerous conditions, the rules change.
The basic speed law says that when weather conditions are a factor or cause a roadway hazard, that you're to slow down. The speed limit is not the speed limit. And in fact, you could be cited for driving the speed limit on a roadway that's covered in ice.
Nixon says he's got some simple advice.
The bottom line is caution and patience. Just take your time. Take your time. And if you don't have to go, don't go.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
For the latest road conditions in your state, you can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com and click on road conditions at the top of the page. The owner of Snodgrass Collision Center in Joplin says black ice is the most common culprit behind winter weather wrecks. They say they've received several calls for drivers already needing repairs due to road conditions. Some just need alignments for minor incidents, and others are involved in rollovers.
Ditch type damages, a lot of those will get drove back, you'll hit a culvert, a lot of suspension problems. If you go off in the ditch, you should always bring your car into a shop and have an alignment checked on it.
We spoke to several other shops in the area today who all say they've received calls from drivers who have damage due to road conditions. Missouri American Water wants you to play it safe when it comes to your home as well. The company says you might have to take steps to prevent frozen pipes. Those could include leaving cabinet doors open to expose pipes to warm air or letting your faucets drip. These easy, inexpensive steps could save you a lot in the long run.
It's very minimal. And a good way to think about it in terms of is a gallon of water is less than a penny. So talking about, I don't even know that it would amount to $1 a month on a bill because it's so minute.
Missouri American Water also recommends wrapping pipes in newspaper to help prevent freezing. Pitt State violence prevention educator Stephanie Spitz is now officially a Wonder Woman. The Southeast Kansas chapter of the National Organization for Women presented Spitz with the award on Saturday. She was nominated for her work advocating for an end to violence against women. Spitz was awarded a plaque and a $200 donation to the charity of her choice. That's awesome. Congratulations. 6:07.
Freezing rain continues to our south and then snow in the central and northern portions. And we're not even close to being done. We're going to flip this all the way into Thursday. Not going to get a break until Thursday afternoon as our temperatures begin to decrease, so no melt on its way.
Okay. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, tips to help you fall asleep if the pandemic stress is keeping you awake. Plus how one company 3D printed a ribeye steak. What? And our own Jesse Irwin talks to Tiana Fisher at the Joplin Humane Society.
We know that the Humane Society houses cats and dogs. There are a few other animals that you might not realize call the Humane Society home. We're going to meet one of them coming up. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
In Money Watch this morning, thousands of ballots were found in the mailboxes of Amazon employees in Bessemer, Alabama. Those workers, some of whom have concerns about job security, are now voting about possibly joining a union. Bree Douglas reports.
The Amazon Fulfillment Center opened its brand new facility in Bessemer not even a year ago, and already employees are unhappy. They complain about unsafe working conditions, poor treatment, and threatened job security. They're hoping a union can help change that.
Employees want to know that they can't be fired for nothing, that ultimately they have to do something really wrong or negligent in order to lose their job.
Joshua Brewer, a rep with Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union, believes Amazon isn't concerned about losing money by increasing wages. Instead, he says it's about not losing authority.
If it was about wages, then Amazon would have just given a wage increase without spending the millions and millions of dollars that they've spent trying to keep a union out. So it tells you it's about power and it's about control.
But Amazon workers want some power and control too. To have a union, more than half of those who vote must say yes.
We've had thousands and thousands of workers sign support cards, and so we believe that those workers will turn out and they'll have their voice heard.
All ballots have to be received by the federal government on March 29th, and that's when voting ends. Results of the election should be known by early April. Alabama is a right-to-work state, which means employees do not have to join a union if it passes. Aunt Jemima officially has a replacement. The breakfast brand will now be known as Pearl Milling Company. Pepsi said last year it was retiring Aunt Jemima because it was based on a racial stereotype. The new label will be available starting in June. Pearl Milling Company was founded in 1888 and was the originator of what became Aunt Jemima pancakes. I like that they're keeping the same colors. I do that. An Israeli company has unveiled a 3D printed ribeye steak. Aleph Farms used 3D bioprinting technology, which uses real cow cells that are incubated to form the texture and qualities of a real steak. It comes 2 years after they created a thin-cut steak. The company says it plans to expand its portfolio of meat products. Okay, that's it for Money Watch. We'll be right back.
Going to break down our travel and conditions right now because we've still got freezing rain developing in the southern portion of the 4 states. On the other side of 44, we've got ice reports up into the central portion. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and break all this down because we've got a winter weather advisory. So let's go ahead and jump into our road conditions that you can find at KOAMnewsnow.com. Once again, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. And we will start with Missouri, where we have fully covered roads, including our main thoroughfares of I-49 and I-44. That's going to be indicated in the dark blue, and that stretches all the way north and south, east and west. Speaking of west on I-44, as we zoom in here on Ottawa and Delaware counties, we're looking at moderate to severe travel conditions. And as far as Kansas goes, 2 main highways I want to pay attention to are Highway 400 and also I-69. Or Highway 69. So what we're talking about is the best thing to do if you can. Stay indoors because you can tell the winter weather advisory doesn't expire today. It lasts all the way to tomorrow as we have dangerously cold temperatures as indicated from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, where we sit right now at 19 degrees with a wind chill of 11. The indicator that I want to point out with that is the ice, the snow. We've talked, snow's easier to drive than ice. It's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. We've now got 0 degrees as far as a wind chill in Iola, 2 in Fort Scott, and 11 in both Carthage and in Joplin as the cold front and the Arctic air have penetrated all the way into the deep south. Highs only in the 20s today, but the key factor is really going to be future track as the freezing drizzle and rain persists to the south, and then we turn it into snow for the central and northern portion of the 4 states, and our temperatures continue to decrease as we head toward Valentine's Day weekend. Now, over to Jesse in studio. Okay.
Well, usually when we highlight pets on the show, we highlight cats, we highlight dogs, but occasionally we take things in a different direction. And this morning, to join us and help us do that is none other than Tiana Fisher. The Joplin Humane Society has not only cats and dogs, but what do you have for us today?
Today I have Spot, who is a beautiful little guinea pig. She does the little nibble thing. It is cute. She doesn't like bite. She just gives like little love nibbles. And it startles you at first, but she's very sweet. She has a sibling here who also needs a home. And guinea pigs make great pets, especially if you live in an apartment. They don't take up a lot of space. They're affectionate and loving. They love treats and they're fun. And they make the cutest little noises.
What kind of an owner is good for a guinea pig? I mean, what's the household situation that they thrive in the best?
They like a quiet environment. She comes with a pretty good sized cage, so you'll need a little bit of room for her, but they have to have their litter changed. The litter that we use in guinea pig cages is either like a wood pellet or shavings. So we line the bottom with that. That has to be changed out at least once a week, if not more, depending on your guinea pig and how messy they are. They do require a little bit special care as far as equipment goes. They have to have a water bottle that they can drink out of, so they lick it, and they eat special food made especially for guinea pigs. Oh my gosh, she's cracking me up. So they do require a little bit of extra care, say over maybe a cat, but they're really easy to take care of. They like to snuggle, and they are very, very talkative. At least this one is.
What a cute guinea pig. And I know you guys have a pretty cool event you guys are doing for Valentine's Day, Cupcakes for Kittens?
Cupcakes for Kittens. It's brand new this year, and the money raised will go towards our feline medical fund. So when you come to the shelter and you adopt a cat, those adoption fees covers things such as the spay and neuter and their vaccines. But what it doesn't cover is the cost of other medical needs. So if that cat or kitten had to be on medicine for any other reason, that's what this fund helps cover.
Well, hey, we will have the information about that on our website. Thank you so much, Spot. We appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Say thank you, Spot. Say thank you.
I love it. We're going to have all the information on our website about not only Cupcakes for Kittens, but about Spot as well, because holy moly, that's a cute guinea pig. We'll be right back on the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, if the pandemic is keeping you up at night, you're part of a growing number of Americans experiencing so-called coronasomnia. Doctors say about twice as many people are having sleep disturbances during the pandemic. Chris Martinez takes a look at what's causing those sleepless nights and how you can get more shut-eye.
Singer-songwriter Courtney Stoll of the pop duo YVR is used to late nights, but not like this.
I've always been a night owl, but during quarantine, it's like a whole other level.
She's been struggling to fall asleep and stay asleep.
Anxiety is running high. It's a crazy time right now, and I think it's just scary not knowing when venues are going to open back up, when, I can start working full speed again.
A study published this month in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found about 40% of people are experiencing sleep problems during the pandemic, and Google searches for insomnia spiked 58% during the first 5 months of 2020, peaking around 3 a.m.
Those are people that are up having difficulties and trying to kind of figure out what's going on.
UCLA sleep medicine physician Dr. Joshua Rowland says increased stress and anxiety and disrupted work and life patterns are all contributing factors.
To kind of combat that, we want to try to normalize things as much as possible, which is sometimes easier said than done.
Besides reducing caffeine and alcohol, doctors say go for a walk each day to get a little sunlight and some exercise. Doctors advise keeping your sleep space sacred, no working in bed, and no screen time, which interferes with sleep.
Often what I'll do for patients who have a lot of stress, that when they lay down, it all starts to bubble up, is I'll have them either make a diary or make lists a little bit prior to bedtime and hopefully get all that out of their head.
Stoll says meditating at night has helped, and experts agree that can be part of a healthy wind-down routine before hitting the hay. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Sleep is also essential for a healthy immune system, which doctors say is not only important in fighting off any infection, but also for helping generate antibodies once you are vaccinated against COVID-19. Well, here's another reason to keep up that dental health. According to a study of more than 500 patients, researchers now say those suffering from gum disease were 9 times more likely to die from the coronavirus. Those same patients are also at least 3 times more likely to experience complications. Experts also note the well-established link between periodontitis and lung diseases such as asthma, pneumonia, and COPD. 2 eggs hold the yolks. New evidence in PLOS medicine links eggs and cholesterol to cardiac death. The great egg debate emerges once again. Doctors suggest limiting cholesterol and replacing whole eggs with egg whites and substitutes, or choosing other protein sources. I feel like a year from now, we'll reverse that story again. Coffee lovers, drink up. A new study suggests that daily cup of joe could be heart healthy. Drinking a cup or more of caffeinated coffee every day may cut your risk of heart failure. Risk of heart failure fell by 5 to 12% per cup of coffee each day compared with having no coffee. Findings also showed decaffeinated coffee did not appear to provide the same protection as caffeine-rich blends. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Decaffeinated.
No such thing
here. You just made my morning. You just made me feel healthy. I can get it. You get your egg, I get my coffee. We got a Wednesday morning made. Now here's what we also need to do. Stay off the roads if possible. Freezing rain persists to the south. Then we get snow all the way from Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and it's not going to be able to go anywhere as our temperatures way below freezing and a dangerously cold weekend with overnight lows into the negatives. We'll be back right after this.
Opening arguments start today for the impeachment of former President Trump. We'll have more on the trial. Plus, a Southwest Missouri assistant principal facing child pornography charges is fired. And the Joplin Police Department gives tips on how to drive in dangerous wintry weather. We'll hear what they say you need to do to stay safe on your morning commute.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, the man who opened fire in a Minnesota healthcare clinic has been arrested. And for our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, we're asking, who do you think should pay the bill on the first date? But first, a check on your forecast.
All right, Tanya, bottom of your screen, the laundry list of closings rolls on for our 3rd consecutive day as the freezing rain persists along with the snow, especially in our southern counties. Really up to the north, it's kind of stopped snowing, but that's of little consequence because of what we've got overnight into early this morning with our deteriorating road conditions. And you can find the list of closings and the Department of Transportation warnings at KOAMnewsnow.com. Winter weather advisory lasting all the way to Thursday. Notice that expiration time. That is not this morning. That is actually tomorrow. And it's a combo. Not only are we going to get more rain, freezing rain and snow, but also dangerously cold temperatures as we sit at 19 right now from the Freeman Health System sky camera. 16 in Pittsburgh, 21 in Monette, and a whole bunch of 16s running throughout southeast Kansas, including Independence and Neodesha, with wind chills as low as 0 right now in Yates Center and Iola. Feels like 11 in Carthage and 12 in Commerce. The cold penetrating all the way into the deep south as Arctic air takes over the contiguous 48, and we only make it up into the 20s today. As we look at future track, the freezing rain indicated in pink and the snow in the purple and blue last all the way into the evening hours and into Thursday morning as well. We'll finally get a break Thursday evening into Friday, but we will not get a break from the cold. As a matter of fact, our overnight lows continue to dip all the way down into single digits for Valentine's Day weekend.
All right. It's going to be cold. It's coming down.
You and I were just talking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find silver lining in all this. Number 1, stay off the roads, folks. Stay at home.
My silver lining is we get a break on Friday. How about that?
I like your silver lining. Yeah. My silver lining is I just went through my logos that I've made. You know, in my time doing this, I've never made a Mardi Gras logo. And I was thinking,
Put a big old crawfish on Tuesday.
no!
A mask, a purple
Beads.
mask, beads. Now put that on Saturday. That's when people will be celebrating that.
No, it's Fat Tuesday.
You eat on Fat Tuesday. You celebrate the weekend before. Well, you celebrate the whole time.
But, okay, I'm not going to argue with you about Mardi Gras parades.
You celebrate the whole weekend. You've been celebrating since the Epiphany, right?
When's the crew parade?
They actually canceled everything.
No, they didn't. The crew parade's going on.
Didn't they cancel a lot, though? Like all the
Well,
big celebrations?
for the public, general
Yeah.
public. Crew parade's happening Tuesday.
There you go. There's going to be a lot happening Tuesday. Yes. I actually ordered beads myself.
Shrove Tuesday, if you will.
Oh, yeah. Have yourself some pancakes. Have yourself some punchkis. Have yourself some king cake. Have yourself some crawfish. I'm going to have it all.
I was going to have pancakes.
And maybe even some beignets. I make a good beignet.
That I'll go for, actually.
Yeah, okay. I get really excited about Fat Tuesday. Yes. You want to know what else is my silver lining?
What's that?
I know we're busting time here, but okay, so yesterday was my
Take that up with
birthday.
your incomparable producer.
Probably one of the best things that I got for my birthday, and I know this is a first world problem, but was my husband fixed my remote start and my electric seat heaters. Boom. This morning, both of them worked again.
You're going to need that all week long.
Whew. It was so nice. Okay. Cross my fingers they don't break again. All right. Opening arguments begin today in former President Trump's impeachment trial. It's expected to last about a week. Proceedings yesterday focused on whether the trial itself was constitutional. CBS's Deborah Alfarone is on Capitol Hill with details.
House prosecutors opened the impeachment trial of former President Trump with a graphic video montage of the January 6th riots on Capitol Hill.
This was a national tragedy, and President Trump is singularly responsible for inciting it.
Yesterday, the impeachment managers and Mr. Trump's lawyers debated whether it was constitutional to prosecute a former president.
Presidents can't inflame insurrection in their final weeks and then walk away.
So the slippery slope principle will have taken hold if we continue to go forward with what is happening.
Mr. Trump's legal team argued he cannot be tried because he's a private citizen, but their presentation was criticized as disjointed, even by members of the GOP. 6 Republicans voted with Democrats to move forward with the trial.
President Trump's team were disorganized, almost as if they were embarrassed of their arguments.
Sources familiar with Mr. Trump's reaction told CBS News he was angry with his lawyer's lackluster performance, which at times rambled on.
We still know what records are, right? On the thing you put the needle down on and you play it.
Speaking from the same chamber that was taken over by rioters, lead impeachment manager Jamie Raskin choked up as he recounted having his daughter with him that day.
Senators, this cannot be our future.
President Biden has said he is not focused on the trial. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Democrats are promising to show never-before-seen evidence. It's unclear if they will call any witnesses or just rely on video. The Nixon, Missouri School District fired an assistant principal who is facing child pornography charges. A court affidavit says 41-year-old Colby Frontrouse pretended to be a 14-year-old girl, sending sexually explicit messages to a 13-year-old boy. Authorities say Fronterhouse got the boy's cell phone number through school records. He'd been placed on administrative leave, but the school board yesterday voted to fire him. And the wintry weather has led to dangerous road conditions. Driving on snow, however, is different than driving on ice. While both are slick and hazardous, officials say you can get a little more traction on snow than you can with ice. In either case, the Joplin Police Department says you need to play it safe.
You can gear down. You can just take your foot off the brake some so that you're not completely locking up your brakes, allowing your vehicles, your tires to rotate and get some traction on the roadway.
For the latest road conditions in your state, you can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com and click on road conditions at the top of the page. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. How a community in Buffalo, Minnesota is in shock after a gunman opened fire in a healthcare clinic. Plus, for our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, we're asking, who do you think should pay the bill on the first date? We let you weigh in, and we'll be right back.
Within one day, it totally changed my life, my self-esteem, and I'm really, really grateful for the help and the care and the service I got from DDS. It really changed my life.
We're ready to help you love your smile again. Call Dentures and Implant Solutions today.
It's time for the George Washington Carver National Monument Art and Essay Contest for 3rd and 4th graders. This year it's completely online. This year's theme is Helping and Healing. Students may base their work on a quote from Carver. There is beauty in a well-tilled fields and healthy and happy people, beauty to living in harmony with others. Entry deadline is February 16th. Winners will be posted on Park's Facebook page on March 19th, 2021. Download the teacher packet on the Park website for more information. Contact George Washington Carver National Monument by email or telephone.
Hi, this is Alan from Wayside Furniture in Joplin. Did you know that we're a family-owned business and that we have been serving the 4-state area for nearly 50 years? We even serve customers from as far away as Springfield and Northwest Arkansas. That's one of the reasons we've won so many awards and have been voted the favorite furniture store in the 4 states 6 years in a row. We have a fantastic selection of living rooms, bedrooms, dining rooms, and more. And we have the largest selection of recliners in the area with hundreds in stock now. We carry power lift chairs starting at just $6.99, a complete mattress department. We also carry furniture for those needing to work or study from home. And at Wayside, we offer free area delivery and setup, and there is no city sales tax. So if you need to stop in, our doors are open, but you can always browse online and request a quote by email or call us, and we'll be happy to get you whatever you need. We are fully stocked, wall to wall, and anything purchased from our showroom floor can be taken home the very same day. Come see us at North Main and Fountain Road in Joplin.
Within one day, it totally changed my life, my self-esteem, and I'm really, really grateful for the help and the care and the service I got from DDS. It really changed my life.
We're ready to help you love your smile again. Call Dentures and Implant Solutions today.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, the alleged gunman who police say opened fire on a healthcare clinic in Minnesota has been arrested. Meredith Wood has the latest.
Our heart breaks as a community. This is a day that no community would want to go through.
A tight-knit community in Buffalo, Minnesota struck by tragedy after a gunman opened fire on the Allina Healthcare Clinic. Police Chief Pat Budke choking up delivering the details of the shooting during a press conference Tuesday afternoon.
The shooter
It's a horrible looking scene, and our staff immediately began rendering aid to those victims.
5 people wounded in the shooting were transported to nearby hospitals for their injuries.
We're going to make it through this. It's going to be difficult. This doesn't happen in Buffalo, Minnesota, right?
The suspect has been identified as 67-year-old Gregory Ulrich, who police say is no stranger to them.
He is from Buffalo. We have had several calls for service regarding Mr. Ulrich dating back to 2003.
Police say they believe Ulrich acted alone and there is no hunt for accomplices.
There is no information at this point that leads us to believe that there is any nexus with any type of domestic terrorism.
I'm Meredith Wood reporting.
Ulrich, the alleged gunman, is expected to appear in court Thursday morning. The Navy's top dog condemned extremism in the ranks on Tuesday. Admiral Michael Gilday's message comes after 2 recent incidents of symbols of hate and violence found aboard ships. Last month, a black sailor on the USS Lake Champlain found a noose above his bunk. The Navy confirmed a sailor later confessed and was removed from the ship. The second incident happened in the past week and involved hate speech graffiti discovered in a bathroom aboard the USS Carl Vinson. In his message to the fleet, Gilday called the symbols, quote, contrary to Navy culture, core values, and warfighting effectiveness. Prices at the pump are going up. The average cost for a gallon is $2.46, and that's according to AAA. That's a 4-cent hike from last week and 16 cents from last month. That pushed average prices higher than this same time last year across 2/3 of the country. Spokesperson for the travel agency says commuters should expect to see gas prices rise up to 10 cents per gallon. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for something to talk about.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, the age-old debate over who pays on the first date may have finally been put to rest just in time for your Valentine's Day plan, but we like to make it interesting. And so we're asking, who do you think should pay on the first date? We'll begin with Will Batiste. Will says, KOM, I'm old school. I totally believe it's the man's place to pay. That's just the way I was raised, and I agree 100% still to this day. I also believe in holding doors, even for complete strangers, and seat your date before you sit down. Will says, not toxic masculinity, just respect. And evidently he's going to make that a platform to run for office. Colleen McGuire, though, she says the inviter is the one who should pay. Our own Will York says, as a traditionalist, I think it's best that the man pays for the first date. And Jerry Othel Jones says, why not just do an old-fashioned D&D just to see how fun your date is? No, Jerry. No. You remember that dude out in California that was setting women up for the expensive dates and taking off and then got busted on social media? We do not encourage that type of behavior here in the KOM Morning News. On the KOM News Now Insta poll, 49% of you say it should be the male that pays. And once again, I do love the fact that this one's coming in at 0. I usually don't weigh in on the Insta poll, but that seems like a good place to keep that number. You can let your voice be heard. Go to komnewsnow.com/vote. Be right back after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Corporal Daniel Dopp, who was a member of the United States Marines. He served from 1953 to 1956 in Korea, his hometown, Joplin, Missouri. We are proud to salute Daniel Dopp, our four-state hero.
This family. All right, let's begin our birthday list off with Timber Mitchell, because when you're one and you get a cake like that, you just dive straight in, as you should. Timber, a very happy first birthday to you, my friend. He's in Humboldt, and these birthday wishes from Mom, Aunt Rachel, and Big Brother Carson. That's a cool photo.
All right, and we've got Blaze Elmore turning 1 year old this year. Happy birthday, Blaze, in Columbus. And we're understanding that Mr. Blaze is the youngest grandson of our wonderful business manager, Miss Rhonda Zook.
Run out to Humboldt, where Kinley Lucas celebrating the big number 6 right there. Oh, love that hat, kiddo. Look at that.
That's a cool picture.
Wait, that's not a hat, that's Photoshop. That could just trick me. That was well done. But I like the sign too. The sign is real. That's cool. Happy birthday, Miss Kinley. She's in Humboldt.
Okay, this next one.
Hey, we got one of Jessie's.
I cannot.
I know.
Spit an image of her mother right
Yes,
there. Oh my goodness.
Yes, she is.
How is she already 7? She does look 7 years old. Emma Rose Jessie. This is not happening.
She does look like Mom.
I remember being at her baby shower. Oh my goodness. Oh, Miss Emma Rose in Crestline. Happy birthday. 7 strong.
Happy birthday, Emma Rose. That's
wow.
wonderful. Isaac Schultz, big number 11. Good looking picture, dude. Hey, this birthday wish with love from Mom and Dad. Have a great day, Isaac.
And we've got Parker Manley turning 16 years old this year.
I like that shirt, dude.
That is cool. Parker is in Chanute, Kansas.
I dig that shirt. We have a sweet 16 for Chloe McGowan. Oh, little Southeast Lancer pride right there. Chloe, have a marvelous day. She's in Scammon.
In Frontenac turning 37 this year, it's Annie Versalona. That's a nice picture, Annie.
Wait a second. Let's, hold on. Keep that picture up right there. Because that's not only the matriarch of the family, she keeps that dude in place too. That's right. Annie, we know you run that. We know you run that group. Happy birthday, Miss Annie. And hey, the other 5 of you right there, you spoil Mom/wife today, okay? That's your job.
I love that picture.
Larry Arthur, a happy 70th birthday to Mr. Larry as he celebrates in Jasper.
And we've got Richard and Bonnie Freeman celebrating their 60th anniversary this year. This anniversary wish comes from the kids, grandkids, and the great-grandkids.
What a
the
nice
Freemans
picture
are in
of the
Columbus.
Freemans. That's a marvelous picture of Richard and Bonnie. Congratulations, Freemans. Walt Leiker, a happy birthday in West Mineral. Daisy Schooley is celebrating her 6th birthday. Daisy is in Baxter Springs. Samantha Atnip, a happy 49th with love from the family. And Sherilyn Cunningham, a very happy birthday to you in Parsons. Happy birthday and happy anniversary to all on this January 10th. Now here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign. You'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Celebrating your birthdays and of the younger crew. Well, you don't have to worry about school perhaps, because right there on the bottom of your screen, complete list of closings, organizations, businesses, activities, of course, importantly schools. And you can go to not only KOAMnewsnow.com to find that complete list of closings, but also for your latest road conditions. Reason we're seeing so many cancellations. The ice continues to come down, especially on the southern portion of the 4 states. We're seeing a transition from the freezing rain into snow, but that's of little consequence considering what we picked up last night into early this morning as the winter weather advisories last all the way until 6 o'clock this morning. Dangerously cold weather, not only today, but all the way through the 7-day forecast. 19 degrees is where we stand at the Freeman Health System sky camera with a wind chill right now of only 11 degrees. It's going to be a long time before we actually begin to melt because we don't even have any 32s on the horizon. The deep cold penetrates into the south and we only make it up into the 20s today. The important thing is that we're not done. And here's why the Department of Transportation, Highway Patrol, urging everybody stay home if you can, because we'll pick up additional freezing rain throughout the course of our Wednesday morning. Then we'll transition into snow all the way from Wednesday night into Thursday morning and really not get a break until Thursday afternoon. Even when we do get a break from the snow and the freezing rain, you'll notice it's not going to go anywhere as our daily highs continue to decrease into Valentine's Day weekend and overnight lows into single digits. We'll be back. Wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News right after this. All right, let's run through our day planner one more time, and I'm going to flip over. We're going to talk about the important place of where to find things. It's going to be cold today. More importantly, here's what we've got rolling through the 4 states. Freezing rain through the afternoon hours, transitions into snow tonight, lasts us all the way into Thursday. Need to just stay off the roads if possible. The snow and ice is not going to go anywhere because our temperatures stay way below freezing as we head into Valentine's Day weekend. Now remember, KOAMnewsnow.com. That's our front page. All you have to do is click on closings. That's going to take you to the complete list of organizations, activities, businesses, and most importantly, schools to show you what's closed as those scroll on the bottom of your screen. And then road conditions. All you got to do is go down here. You find your state. You click on that, Department of Transportation, and like I said, best bet, stay off the roads if possible today. Tanya?
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Opening arguments are slated to begin this afternoon in the second impeachment trial of former President Trump. On Tuesday, the Senate voted to continue with the proceeding after hearing arguments as to its constitutionality. All 50 Democrats said it was constitutional, and they were joined by 6 Republicans. The Nixa, Missouri School District fired an assistant principal who is facing child pornography charges. A court affidavit says 41-year-old Colby Fronterhouse pretended to be a 14-year-old girl sending sexually explicit messages to a 13-year-old boy. Authorities say Fronterhouse got the boy's cell phone number through school records. He had been placed on administrative leave, but the school board yesterday voted to fire him. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Yeah, we just did that. It's cold.
All right, we're coming up today.
What else do you want to know? It's cold, stay off the roads.
That's right. And we're waiting for Michael to make a...
Whoa! There were 2. That was not a trick. You know what that was? It was an illusion. not
Well, coming
trick-
up today at
not a
noon,
trick, Michael.
speaking of illusions, we're making unstuffed, stuffed cheesy pork chops in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Jesse just got the Arrested Development illusion.
Well,
right
of
there.
course, Michael.
It's not a
But
trick, Michael.
wait, hold on. How do you make unstuffed stuffed something?
You'll just have to tune in at noon to
That
find
is
out.
absolutely an
I'm just
illusion.
coming off the health block where I found out coffee's healthy.
That was your epiphany?
And
Yeah,
eggs
yeah.
are bad.
Hey, whatever helps you, man. Whatever
Yeah.
gets you through the day.
Okay. Well,
All right, your morning news continues on KOAM. We've got the CBS Morning News coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And that's where we find our own Jesse Irwin.
Well, we've seen cats, we've seen dogs from the Humane Society, but have you ever seen, well, I don't want to tell them what animal it is. We'll see you over on Fox 14 with that one, and we've got other fun stuff coming up.
Hey, try to stay at home today, and please stay safe if you do have to go anywhere, because I want you to have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.